Parents in Gauteng who missed the deadline to apply for placements for grade 1 and 8 next year have been given another opportunity to apply. Late applications are due to open officially tomorrow. The Gauteng Education Department spokesperson Steve Mabona joins us to talk about the process. Steve, a very good evening to you. Welcome back to News at Prime. So, are you ready to begin this process tomorrow, and how will it work?
Good evening, Khototo, and to all our viewers. Yes, we are ready. We know what we are doing tomorrow. We are availing schools that have space. They will be in the system, so we are encouraging parents, those that might have missed the boat, to apply online. You know that there are those that would have probably decided to come to Gauteng, but because we are giving them up until the 31st of January, they still have time to apply online. They need to submit documents at schools on the 17th of January when schools open.
And how many schools actually have space in Gauteng at the moment?
Well, unfortunately, I would not have that statistic offhand, but there are those schools that will still have space. In Gauteng, we have enough space, we have enough schools actually. The only challenge that we have is that they are not in the areas where, parents will want to apply at. Like, for instance, we have high pressure areas where, in those areas we don't have enough schools, because we are now introducing satellite schools just to alleviate the pressure of the schools that will be in the area. So we'll encourage parents to go in the system and check so that they then apply accordingly.
What is a satellite school by your definition?
It will be a school that is linked to an existing one. Probably you will have, for instance, a primary in a certain name, and then a satellite will be, a primary 2, which will be linked to the existing school. But it will have its own principal, educators, stationery, learner material. The only thing that will be different, it will be a mobile school in the form of mobile units that will be providing in that area. So those are the schools that we are introducing, because we are highly pressured in some areas. So hence we have decided that we cannot keep on overcrowding schools. And some parents, they were saying we must put more mobile units in the existing schools. It's not enough, because then it will mean that those schools will not even have, playgrounds if we were to introduce mobile units in those schools. So that's why we have opted to introduce what we call satellite schools.
And you mentioned this earlier, the annual clash between yourselves, the annual tension, let's call it that, between yourselves as a department and parents who want their children to go to a school in a specific area, a certain level of school even. You're not always able to do that. So does that mean, especially for the people who will be applying late, that for them this is a take it or leave it window?
No, remember, those schools that will be availed will have space. So it's up to a parent to choose. But then what must be noted is that a school that you choose, you will then be allocated space there, because now you don't have a waiting period for placement. A school that is available, once you click that school, automatically you will then receive that space. So it's a matter of the schools that are available, you will then be in a position to be given that school. So that's what we will be doing up to so far, because we have been working on this process. I mean, we don't have any grade 1 that is not placed now. We have about less than 20 grade 8s that we still need to place, and they're in a certain area that we know why they are not placed. So we are working tirelessly to make sure that, by the time we open schools next year, we don't have a number of those that would not be placed. Because remember, last year, this time, we were sitting at about 50,000 unplaced, and we were still struggling on how we're going to be placing them and where we're going to be placing them. But for now, we have managed to place. But we know that we have objections and appeals that we're still finalizing.
What is the nature of the objection and appeals? Is it people not wanting their children to go to the school where they've been allocated?
Yes, it's those parents that will say, I don't want the school for different reasons. Some will say, no, there's a lot of ill discipline in the school. Some will say that school is a drug haven. I don't want my child to be there. All those issues that we think as parents and SGB we can resolve. I mean, we can turn around the school as parents as long as we are committed to say we want to turn around the school. We can be in a position to do that. I mean, we have a school that we have turned around where parents called upon us as a department to go and assist them. We assisted them and the school managed to be fully functional. So we just want to call upon parents. Let's work together. Those schools that you feel you don't want your child there, let's work together and make sure that we make them schools that you will be happy to see your child going there. I'm
curious about the appeals process. So let's say a parent appeals, they say the school, as you were saying, has discipline problems, or there's a recorded history of substance abuse among the schooling community, etc. What happens at the end of the appeal? Do you then allocate them to another school?
You start by objecting. So the objection officials will look at the objection and check on the reasons why you were not placed at that school. To a certain extent, there are those parents that will be genuinely objecting and their reasons will be valid. So to a certain extent that I'm too close to the school. You find that a school, during the verification of an address process, a school would have erred. And the officials will look at that and say, no, I think the parents were shortchanged. Let's place this child at the school that the parent want, because the parent would have been very close to that school. And if an objection is then not, in your favor, you still have an opportunity to appeal. Now the appeal goes to the MEC. It will then be checked again. They will, look at it, and if the reasons are valid, they can still say, no, we don't agree with the department. We think we agree with the parent. And the office of the MEC will then say, no, we agree with the department. So it depends. So parents must just, wait a bit. The outcome of their objections and appeal will then be finalized, and they will know what's the way forward.
You also had an issue at the last briefing about people who had put in applications, but those applications, according to your system, were incomplete. I think that was about 30,000, if I remember correctly, at the last count. How many of those people have now completed their applications?
We are now sitting at about 14,000 of those that are remaining. From that 30,000, we have managed to place the remainder. Is now 14,000. So there's progress, and we are hopeful that by the time we open schools, we should have been done with that process.
Steve Mabona, thank you so much for your time. Gauteng Education Department spokesperson.